Good morning, dear students. Please do text me whether I am audible to you. Today, I am using my earphone, so please let me know if I am audible to you. Dear students, am I audible to you? Please let me know quickly. Good morning, all of you. Good morning. Please let me know if I am audible. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Shruti. Thank you so much. Okay, very good. Let's begin our new lesson today. That is two stories about flying. Okay, so dear students, two stories about flying comprises of two small stories. First is his first flight, and second one is black aeroplane. So let's find out what these two stories are all about. Okay, so first story is about a young seagull. Seagull is a seabird actually, a seagull, who is afraid to fly. Now the question is, how does he conquer his fear? The first story comprises of a young seagull. Seagull means, as I told you, a bird which lives in the sea. So when the young seagull is afraid to fly, what happens and how does he eventually conquer his fear of flying and started flying like his brothers? That is what we have to we will come to know from this lesson. Okay, so this is about his first flight. And about black aeroplane, it is about a pilot who is lost in storm clouds. So after the pilot loses himself in storm clouds or gets lost in the storm clouds, is he able to arrive safely to the airport where he is supposed to arrive? If so, who helps him? So these are two important and very interesting stories that we're going to learn today. So, dear students, before further, before without waiting much, I think most of you have already joined. So let me begin my lesson. Okay. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. The young seagull was only alone on his ledge. Why? Ledge means a narrow horizontal shelf projecting from a wall or a cliff. Cliff. Okay. As he is not able to fly, therefore he is left alone on his ledge. Ledge means here where the young seekers come back and stay for a while. Okay, that is a cliff here. Okay. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. So young Seagull had two brothers and one sister. Both had already, all three of them have already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. So what was the problem with the seagull? Seagull was afraid to fly. That is the problem with him, right? What is the problem with the seagull? The young seagull was afraid to fly. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. He tried to fly. He tried to sort of fly, but what happened? Whenever he ran forward, okay, when he ran forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings to fly, he became absolutely scared. That is the reason as to why he has not taken any initiative to fly yet. He is very much scared of flying. He has an underlying fear that he might fall down in the sea. So that is the reason as to why he was not able to take the initiative of flying. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. He felt certain that his wings would never support him. So he banged his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. So, what was the reason as to why? Why was the young seagull afraid to fly? Okay, so there is a very important question you need to answer from these highlighted lines. Okay, first of all, the great expanse of sea stretched down beneath. Okay, and the young seagull felt certain that his wings would never support him. So he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away, he failed to muster up courage to take that plunge. Plunge means that initiative, which appeared to him so desperate, right? So the narrator informs us that even when his brothers and his little sister, you know, whose wings were far shorter uh, than those of the little seagull, in spite of that, they would fly, but young seagull was too scared to fly. So that is the problem. It might happen because all individuals are not same. All birds also they have identical features, of course, but there might be some exception, and young seagull is an exceptional bird. Because flying by on the part of a bird is a natural process, right? Okay, so uh, yes, flying is a natural process for a bird. Okay, flying is a natural process for a bird. Therefore, um, but in case of here, in case of you can say the little mm, the seagull, he is an exception because she was probably one of the very few birds who are very scared of flying, right? So let's find out what happens afterwards. His father and mother had come around, calling to him shrill, upbraiding means scolding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. But for the life of him, he could not move. Okay, even his parents tried to call him, draw his attention, scolded him, threatened him to let him starve. Starve means threatened him to threatened him with no food. Okay, they threatened him that they will not give him any food unless he flew away. But in spite of the parents' initiative, in spite of the parents' scolding, or in spite of the parents' threatening, the young seeger was not able to muster up courage to start flying, right? But for the life of him, he could not move. But for the life of him means he was so scared that he thought he would fly down, he would fall down into the sea. That is the reason why he was not able to take the initiative, but for the life of him. Okay, you see it is a very natural process for a bird. So he can easily fly, but he's an exception. He has tremendous fear. That is why probably he was not in a position to listen to his parents even. Okay. Uh, Akanksha Srivastav, which words you are not able to understand? Yeah, I'm speaking loudly now. I'm speaking loudly now. Okay, so let me know. Dear students, can you hear me at the moment? Can you hear me at the moment? Okay, so uh, I'm, I'm speaking loudly only. Okay, so here you can see that was 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with brothers and sisters, perfecting them in the art of flight. teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. He had, in fact, seen his older brother catch his first herring. Herring means fish, and devour it. Devour means swallow it. Standing on a rock while his parents circled around, raising a proud cackle. Cackle means it's kind of a sound, a typical sound that the birds make. And all the morning, the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him with his cowardice. Okay, so here, this paragraph is important from exam point of view as well. So there is a question like, how did the family member, how did the young seagulls, or how did the seagulls' parents try to encourage him to fly. So you have to write from this particular paragraph. How did the seagull's parents try to teach or encourage the seagull to fly? That is also a very important questions. So you need to prepare from this paragraph itself. Okay. So from this paragraph you need to sort of prepare for this answer. See, you have to start from here. uh, you have to customize some of the lines, like shortlist some of the lines. So you can write from here. uh, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sister, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first fish and devour it, standing on a rock while his parents circled around, raising a proud cackle. And all the morning, the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him with his cowardice. Okay, so when the parents were uh, perfecting perfecting the other children, okay, in the art of flight, okay, like teaching them how to skim the waves or how to dive for the fish. Young seagull was still on the ledge. Okay? So parents were trying to teach their children, other children, uh, how to perfect, uh, how to become perfect in the art of flight, how to skim the waves, and how to dive for fish. But on seeing all these efforts on the part of parents to teach their children, young Seagull did not become encouraged. Young Seagull was very scared out of his life. Okay? So that is why he was not able to get encouragement. Okay, all the morning the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him with his cowardice. Yes, and they were taunting him also for his cowardice, for his fear. Right. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing on his ledge that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall, right? Since the previous nightfall, he had not eaten anything, so he was feeling very, very scared. See, dear students, this is a ledge. This is cliff, no? This is called ledge. Okay, this is ledge. Okay, so he stepped slowly out to the brink of the ledge and standing on one leg with the other leg hidden under his wing, he closed his one eye, then the other, and pretend to be falling asleep. Still, they took no notice of him. He saw his two brothers and his sister lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into their necks. His father was preening the feathers on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Now and again she tore at a piece of fish that lay at her feet and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. The sight of the food maddened him. How he loved to tear food that way, scraping his beak now and again to wet it. Okay, so dear students, here you can see here you can see what is happening. Let me tell you. Actually, the young seagull is feeling very hungry because since the last evening he could not eat anything. Therefore, he was under he was feeling very hungry. Okay, So as he was feeling very hungry, he was becoming desperate, and all his parents were. I mean, his mom was, of course, keeping watch on him, what he is doing. But the young seagull was trying to, sort of pretend so that he is not noticing his parents. Okay, so young seagull is why is young seagull pretending, tucking his mouth into his feather. Why is he doing like that? So that he can show to his parents that whatever you are doing is something that I am not noticing. Okay, and moreover, young seagull has felt hungry, so that is why, for these two reasons, young seagull was pretending as if he fell asleep, but in fact he did not fall asleep. Okay, or he was not feeling asleep. He was feeling hungry. Actually, he was feeling dead hungry. Okay, so his father was printing the feathers on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Now and again, she tore at a piece of fish. Okay, now you can see, young seagull's mother was trying to tempt the young seagull. Okay, how is she trying to tempt the young seagull? She is trying to tear a piece of fish that lay at her feet. Okay, she was trying to tear a piece of fish that was lying at her feet. So why was she doing that? She was doing that so that the young seagull is already hungry. Her mom knows this. So out of hunger, young seagull would take the initiative to come up to her, and this is how he will flap his wings and start flying. So that is the trick actually adapted by his mom in order to make him come near her. Okay, let's find out what happens. Then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. The sight of the food maddened him. See, the sight of the food maddened him. Okay, he became very, very crazy about getting that particular food, that fish. Why? Because he was feeling dead hungry. How he loved to tear food that way, scraping his beak now and again to wet it. Ga ga ga, he cried, begging her to bring him some food. Go, Kola. She screamed back derisively. Derisively means in a manner showing someone that he is stupid. Okay? She screamed back. She means her mom screamed back derisively. But he kept calling plaintively. Plaintively means very sadly. And after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. His mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him. Okay, see here, his mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. He leaned out, he leaned out eagerly, tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak, almost within reach of his beak. So her mom did not descend or did not come down onto the ledge. Her mom was up there in the air, okay, holding the piece of fish on her beak, right? And she was flapping her wings, keeping balance in air, and was trying to uh, tempt young seagull to uh, start flying and catch her, right? That is why she did not land herself on the ledge. So you can see what a beautiful trick that his mom has adopted in order to make the young seagull take his first plunge for flying. Let's find out. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer. And then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. Now you can see his mom has become successful. Okay, now the seagull became, he was already dead hungry. So now he became even more hungry. So maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into space. Then a monstrous terror seized him, and his heart stood still. See, he already started the plunge of flying into the air. So he's already in the air. So, out of his excitement when he was in the air, when he was after his mom, trying to catch hold of the fish or trying to get some food from his mom, he was feeling afraid. He has taken the plunge. He's already in the air. It means he knows how to fly, right? But as he was very much fearful by heart, therefore he became very scared of flying, right? But he cannot afford to be scared for a long time now. Otherwise, he will fall down. So he will pick up his courage, or he will gather his master his courage gradually. Okay, let's see what happens now. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute. He could hear nothing. A terror seized him. Terror means fear. Fear seized him, and his heart stood still. But in spite of that, but it lasted only for a minute. Okay. The next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards. See, the next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wings. He could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. He was not falling headlong now. He was not falling headlong now because see he knows it's a natural instinct for a bird to fly, and he will not fall of course, but it was his fear inside which was pulling him back from flying. Right. So when he has already taken the plunge and was already in the air, he was trying to muster some courage now. Right. So this paragraph is also very important, dear students, because how did the there might be a question like what was the first experience of the young seagull after he learned the art of flying, okay, or when the how did the seagull experience, or what did the seagull experience after he learned his first flight. So from this paragraph, these lines you have to write, it mention, like next moment he felt his wings spread outward, the wind rushed against his breast feathers. He could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. He was not falling headlong. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. He was no longer afraid. He just felt a bit dizzy. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared upward. All this. His mother swooped past him, her wings making a loud noise. He answered her with another scream. Then his father flew over him screaming. He saw his two brothers and his sister flying around him, curveting and banking and soaring and diving. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly, and commanded himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. So now he's enjoying. Okay, see, how do you understand he is enjoying? He flapped his wings here. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared upwards, uttering these words, ga ga ga. All this. It means he's enjoying. His mother swooped past at him, her wings making a loud noise. He answered her with another scream. So he is going after his mom. Then his father flew over him screaming. He saw his two brothers and his sister flying around him. So these are the experiences of the young seagull after he first learned his art of flight. Okay, he saw his two brothers and his sister flying around him, curveting and banking and soaring and diving. So these are the value points you need to mention when while writing the answer to the question, how did the young seagull first experience the art of flight? Okay, or what did the young seagull experience after he learned the art of flight? Right. Okay. Now let's continue. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly, and commanded himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little bridges moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on the green floor, on this green flooring ahead of him. They were beckoning to him. Beckoning means they were calling him, calling shrilly. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. But he was tired and weak with hunger, and he could not rise, exhausted by the strange exercise. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no further. He was floating on it. And around him, his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. He had made his first flight. So, dear students, as you can see here, after he learned the first flight, he had to land on the green sea. See, he already landed on the green sea, right? Um, First, he gradually went down, 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 and then he is now floating on the surface of the water. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little bridges moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and pawed amusedly. You can see here, he dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. Now he has already landed on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright. Why he was screaming with fright? Because it is for the first time that he is landed on the green sea. He is screaming with fright because he doesn't know whether his wings would support him now. Because of course it will support him, but still he has some mental fear because for the first time he has landed on the green sea, on the surface of water, and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. But he was tired and weak with hunger, and he could not rise. He could not rise out of the surface, exhausted by the strange exercise. And he became exhausted also by the strange exercise of flapping his wings and all that. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and then he sank no further. Because his wings were there, his wings would support him. He was floating on it, and around him his family was screaming, praising him, because the young seagull started learning the art of flight, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. He had made his first flight. So he had made his first flight today. Right. So dear students, this is how the first story comes to an end. In this story, there are only few questions, important questions. Like for example, let me tell you. Um, like why was the young seagull afraid to fly is the first important question. Why was the young seagull afraid to fly? Then second question is how did uh, seagull's family members try to encourage him to fly, right? That is the second question. And the third question is how did the young how did the seagull's mother teach the seagull or teach him the art of flight, okay, or the art of flying. So these three questions are important from this lesson. Hopefully, I have written answers also on my website. You can go through. Otherwise, I have already told you the paragraph names. Okay. So these are the three questions you need to practice. You need to learn from this first story. And in my next class, I will teach you the second story. That is for black aeroplane. Black aeroplane is the second lesson of this second story of this lesson. So that I will teach you in my next class. Okay, so I already told you what are the things you need to prepare. Right, question number two I suggested you already. Then question number one, and here and another one is how did his mom help him to fly, right? So anyway, you can refer to my website for further details, right? So dear students, that's it for the day. Let us wind up our lesson today. But before we sort of wind up our lessons, please write P. Just write P so that I can take your attendance after I dismiss your class. So please do write uh, P. Just write P. Just text me P so that I am able to understand you. Okay. Anushree, Shubham, Suti. Thank you. Thank you. So, where are the rest? Yes, Saurabh, Sumit. Yes, 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 yes. Kamlakant, Pranati, Krishna, Janhavi, Ayushi, Parimal, Ashwini, Priya, Harshal, Nandini, Pranati. Very good. Please do write. Please keep writing. Keep texting me, PP, so that I can register your attendance in that Excel sheet which I showed you that day. Right? Yes. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, dear students, I shall wind up my lecture now. Okay. So till we meet tomorrow morning at the same time. Bye bye. Take care. And I shall forward you a link for listening skill. So please do listen to my podcast. And there is a worksheet attached to my listening skill on the Spotify player or on my website. So you please click on the description where you'll find the worksheet of the podcast given. So I shall send you the link on the group. Please work it out, right? Thank you so much, dear students. Bye bye. Take care, and please do my task of listening skill and upload it on Google Classroom. I shall send you the link on Google Classroom as well as in the group, right? So tag my assignment on the Google Classroom and upload from your notebook the answers of the thing. And answers are also given, but answer is password protected actually. After you submit your answers on Google Classroom, I shall disable the password so that you can see the answer on here, right? So bye bye, dear students. Take care. Have a nice day.